We checked into the Redwood Pines Inn and Suites on July 1st at exactly 4 p.m. after a long 300-mile drive from the Mojave Desert. I was wiped out from being behind the wheel for so long. My daughters, Madison and Chloe, ages 11 and 12, were bursting with energy and couldn't wait to jump into the hotel pool. Meanwhile, my wife Emily and I just wanted to collapse in the room. In the past, as long as the area seemed safe and no shady people were hanging around, we felt fine letting the girls swim on their own. So all four of us, me, Emily, Madison, and Chloe, headed to the pool together to make sure everything looked all right. The only other people there were an elderly couple who appeared to be in their early 70s. The old man didn't even glance at the girls when we arrived or when they stepped into the water, so I figured he wasn't some kind of creep. We exchanged some small talk. The couple told us they were from Boston, and we all commented on how the dry heat, well into the 100s, didn't feel too bad without the humidity. I mentioned to the girls that we were staying in room 105. The couple said their room was 205 and that it had a great view of the wilderness. I agreed it had to be better than our view of the parking lot. Emily and I went back to the room while the girls stayed to swim. About half an hour later, they came back, and I silently hoped they remembered the sunscreen. Last thing I wanted was sunburn complaints the next morning. Luckily, they didn't burn. The next day, we enjoyed the complimentary continental breakfast, and the staff were super friendly. Gave us great advice on Yosemite Park. We drove about an hour to get to Yosemite, and the hike up to the falls was incredible. Afterward, we headed to San Francisco. Everyone was exhausted from the hike, so we ordered takeout and crashed early at the hotel. We spent a few days in San Francisco, checked out Alcatraz and some other tourist spots. Then it was time to fly back, and 6 hours later, we were home in our Philadelphia suburb. Emily uploaded trip photos to Facebook, and life quickly returned to routine. The girls stayed home for a week until day camp started, and Emily and I went back to work. That first night back, we were too tired to cook, so it was takeout again. The next night, though, we were excited to make some pasta at home. "Josh, where's the big pasta pot?" Emily asked. "Probably in the bottom cabinet with the others," I replied. "I already checked. It's not there. I'm sure I washed it and put it away before our trip. It's gotta be there." "Well, it's not. See for yourself." After rummaging through all the pots and pans, I had to admit it was strange. "We've had that pot for 15 years. Your parents gave it to us as a wedding gift. What do you think happened to it?" "No clue. Let me ask the girls. They're watching TV." I walked into the living room. "Girls, have either of you seen the big cooking pot?" "Nope," Madison said. "Not me either," Chloe added. I went back to the kitchen and shrugged. Emily looked frustrated. "Should we call the cops?" she asked. "For a missing pot? They'll laugh at us. It's barely worth 50 cents now. It's not the money. It's that someone had to come into our house and take it. When would that have happened? When we were out west. Is anything else missing? Not that I can tell. The TVs and furniture are all here. Maybe I did something dumb with it? Like tossed it out by mistake? You'd remember that, wouldn't you? Well, maybe not. Remember how the house smelled when we got back? You said we should have taken out the trash." "Yeah, and if I had thrown it out, it'd be in the kitchen bin. I'm just throwing out ideas." Emily looked like she was on the verge of tears or a breakdown. "Let's just use the smaller pots," I said. So we did. Made pasta, ate dinner, cleaned up, and headed to bed. Later that night, while winding down, I asked Emily, "Where's the remote? Did you check under the pillows?" "Yeah, nothing. Not on the dresser or the nightstands either. Maybe under the bed. I'll look." I got down and looked around. Nope, not there. "Josh, I'm calling the police." "Over a missing remote?" Yes, they're going to either laugh or arrest us. The pot is gone. Now the remote's missing too. Still, those aren't things people steal. Someone was in our house, Josh. Because of 2 missing items? Yes. Look, people joke about losing remotes all the time. The pot is weird. Sure, but the remote will turn up. No, it won't. It's not in this room. Look, there's nowhere else it could be. Maybe the girls took it. They're asleep. I don't want to bother them. They know our remote doesn't work on their TV. They wouldn't take it. Maybe they thought it would? Whatever. Let's just sleep. We both went to work the next day. The kids were still home for the week, so we left them a chore list, which they maybe followed. That night, we were surprised they actually did laundry, though they didn't fold it. We let it go. Later, Grace asked me to unlock her iPhone so she could download a game. I took her phone and accidentally opened the phone app. That's when I saw it. An hour-long call from Delaware at 11 a.m. Grace, who were you talking to for over an hour from Delaware? Oh, that was your friend Diane. I don't have a friend named Diane. You know, from the pool at the hotel? Diane and her husband Jack? The old couple from Boston? I barely spoke to them. Well, Diane said you let them stay at our house while we were gone. What? She said you arranged it. I absolutely did not. I barely said 2 words to them. Well, they came by today to get the rest of their stuff. You let them in our house. Why didn't you tell us? They were so nice at the pool and said they'd probably see us again. Did you give them our address? Our number? No, they must have already had it. Diane called the house, but the signal was bad, so I gave her my cell number. Emily, come here. What's going on? Those people from the hotel, the ones we barely met, apparently stayed here while we were gone. And they were back today. You're kidding. I wish I was. Somehow they got our info and let themselves in. I'm calling the police. I called, and at first they hesitated. But once I said strangers had entered our house, they sent over a detective, Murphy. While we waited, I called the hotel. Redwood Pines Inn and Suites. Yes, I stayed there July 1st. We met an elderly couple who somehow got into our home. They said they stayed in room 205. We were in 105. We don't have a room 205. What? Then how'd they get into the pool? Sometimes the gate doesn't close, or guests accidentally let people in. Do you know how they got our address? No, unless they overheard your room number or someone gave them your last name. Could they have pretended to be me at the front desk? Possibly. If they were convincing enough, they might have gotten info without showing ID. I'll file a report. Do you have cameras in the lobby? Yes, but we only store footage for 3 days. Perfect. Thanks. I hung up, frustrated. Detective Murphy arrived, and we told him everything. Emily mentioned a few family photos were also gone. Murphy advised us to cancel our credit cards and watch our accounts. Grace and Chloe gave vague descriptions for a sketch, but it could have been any elderly couple. Diane's call was from a burner phone in New Jersey. We suspect they got in through the basement door. We might have left it unlocked. Weeks passed with no leads. Tonight, while eating dinner, I happened to glance up at the chandelier and froze. Tucked inside it, barely visible, was a small hidden camera.